This is for every one of you out there. Have patience. Wait on the Lord.
Lord, your word says that I will trust in the Lord with all my heart. Lean not to thine own understanding. That's what I'm going to do. I make the choice to do that. I have decisions that I have to make. And sometimes I want to go ahead of you, and sometimes I want to help you help me. But I realize that that's backwards. You don't need my help. You don't need my resources. I thank you that you are the source. So I thank you, Father, for helping me to be the bonus mom to my blended family, all of our children and our grandchildren. I pray, God, that you would help me to continue to be an example to them, to love them the way that they need to be loved, not the way that I think that I should love them. I thank you for unity in our family. Your word says that as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. You also said that this house will be known as the house of prayer. So I thank you that our children know that when they need prayer, they don't feel adequate for praying for themselves, even though we've taught them. I thank you that they can come to us without us judging them and reminding them of the things that they've done. They already know. I thank you that we'll be able to give them a sound answer and that we will be able to pray for them as they need. In Jesus' name, thank God.
Brothers and fathers, listen now to my defense.
When they heard him speak to them in Aramaic, they became very quiet. Then Paul said,
I am a Jew, born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in this city. I studied under Gamaliel and was thoroughly trained in the law of our ancestors. I was just as zealous for God as any of you are today. I persecuted the followers of this way to their death, arresting both men and women and throwing them into prison, as the high priest and all the council can themselves testify. I even obtained letters from them to their associates in Damascus, and went there to bring these people as prisoners to Jerusalem to be punished. About noon, as I came near Damascus, suddenly a bright light from heaven flashed around me. I fell to the ground and heard a voice say to me, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Who are you, Lord? I asked. I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom you are persecuting, he replied. My companions saw the light, but they did not understand the voice of him who was speaking to me. What shall I do, Lord? I asked. Get up, the Lord said, and go into Damascus. There you will be told all that you have been assigned to do. My companions led me by the hand into Damascus, because the brilliance of the light had blinded me. A man named Ananias came to see me. He was a devout observer of the law and highly respected by all the Jews living there. He stood beside me and said, "Brother Saul, receive your sight." And at that very moment, I was able to see him. Then he said, "The God of our ancestors has chosen you to know his will and to see the righteous one and to hear words from his mouth. You will be his witness to all people of what you have seen and heard. And now what are you waiting for? Get up, be baptized and wash your sins away, calling on his name." When I returned to Jerusalem and was praying at the temple, I fell into a trance and saw the Lord speaking to me. "Quick," he said, "leave Jerusalem immediately, because the people here will not accept your testimony about me." "Lord," I replied, "these people know that I went from one synagogue to another to imprison and beat those who believe in you. And when the blood of your martyr Stephen was shed, I stood there giving my approval and guarding the clothes of those who were killing him." Then the Lord said to me, "Go. I will send you far away to the Gentiles."
The crowd listened to Paul until he said this. Then they raised their voices and shouted,
"Rid the earth of him! He's not fit to live!"
As they were shouting and throwing off their cloaks and flinging dust into the air, the commander ordered that Paul be taken into the barracks. He directed that he be flogged and interrogated in order to find out why the people were shouting at him like this. As they stretched him out to flog him, Paul said to the centurion standing there,
"Is it legal for you to flog a Roman citizen who hasn't even been found guilty?"
When the centurion heard this, he went to the commander and reported it.
"What are you going to do? This man is a Roman citizen."
The commander went to Paul and asked,
"Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?"
"Yes, I am,"
he answered. Then the commander said,
"I had to pay a lot of money for my citizenship."
"But I was born a citizen."
Paul replied. Those who were about to interrogate him withdrew immediately. The commander himself was alarmed when he realized that he had put Paul, a Roman citizen, in chains. The commander wanted to find out exactly why Paul was being accused by the Jews. So the next day he released him and ordered the chief priests and all the members of the Sanhedrin to assemble. Then he brought Paul and had him stand before them.
I must hear what hurts over what is said. Listen to me carefully. If we're going to resolve conflict, when we enter into a conversation with someone else, we have to pay more attention to why they're saying what they say than how they say what they say. Because where we spin out is we argue over the how, and we never deal with the why. Because the how can be sometimes so offending that we respond and say, "Who are you talking to?" "Well, I'm talking to you. And now we're on a whole other, and we never deal with the why. See, here's the thing that you have to understand about conflict. We don't argue over ideas so much, but we do argue over emotions. And when the emotional gets involved in our argument, It makes things complicated. Let me prove this to you. How many of you have ever had someone tell you about a conflict they were in, and you were able to tell them clearly what to do without a problem? In fact, you have the best advice for other people. But when it comes to your stuff, you have no idea what to do. Anybody, you ever been there? Let me tell you why that's the case. That happens because whenever you involve yourself in another person's conflict, you're in that conflict without emotion. And whenever you remove emotion, things become super clear. When you remove emotion, it's like, oh, all you need to do is blah, 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 blah. And it becomes, it's easy and it's clear. But when you put emotion into it, it makes it really cloudy and complicated to know what to do next. And everything is not as clear. It's because anger gives me the permission to say what I really want to say. Right? Because anger, and I've taught this to you before, anger has the exact same effect on you that alcohol has. Anger releases the same chemicals in your brain that if you went out and you took back some E&J or some Corbel or some Hennessy or some Ciroc or whatever, and you just, took that stuff down, listen, you finna be mighty. Listen, you are mighty now, right now. Listen. You're going to say whatever you need to say and do whatever you need to do. Because when you put alcohol in your body, it releases inhibitions. Anger is the exact same way. There is no difference between anger and alcohol in terms of the effect it has on the brain. Which is why many of us are in love with anger. Because as long as I'm angry and if I stay angry, see, I can leave you if I stay angry. Because I don't care. Long as I'm angry. Right? But once I get rid of anger and them other emotions come back, now I'm dealing with pride. I don't want to say I'm sorry, but I made a fool out of myself. But they deserved it, though, I think. Right? So we listen. It is a problem. Now watch this. Why is it a problem? Because every conflict, on your handout, every conflict. Listen to this very carefully. Every conflict is preceded by a hurt. Every conflict is preceded by a hurt. Whenever you're in deep conflict with someone, listen carefully, I guarantee you, it is always preceded by a hurt. Whenever you're in conflict with somebody, one of you or both of you is the lion with the thorn in the paw. Trust me. And hurt, watch this now, comes from feeling devalued. Every conflict is preceded by a hurt. And hurt is a result of feeling devalued. Now we're going to take our time through here. Watch this. The irony of it, and I've taught you this before, the irony of it is hurt people hurt people. See, you would think that people who have been hurt wouldn't hurt nobody, but that's not the case. Hurt people hurt people. So the person that you're in conflict with that's hurting you, at some level, you've got to slow down and you've got to understand that hurt people hurt people. And you might be being hurt by a hurt person. And you're not going to fix it until you care enough to hear why they're hurting. Because their hurt may involve you but have nothing to do with you. Because hurt people hurt people. And they are easily hurt by people. If you ever find somebody that is super sensitive, I guarantee you, you're dealing with a hurt person. Whenever you enter into a conversation surrounding a conflict, there's something that you have to do that most of us never do. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Oftentimes, as we're in a relationship and needing to work through conflict, there are things about you that I don't see that you want me to see. And you don't know that I need to see them, so you don't tell me. In fact, it proves that you're valued if I know it and you don't have to tell me. With one ear, I listen to what you say. With the other ear, I have to listen to why you say it. But it's the listening to why you say it, and when I'm listening to the why, there's three things I need to discover. There's three things that you need to look for in every person you have a conflict with. Number one, I need to discover what their temperament is. What is their temperament? Is this person normally loud? Because if this person is normally loud, the fact that they're loud in this conflict, I shouldn't get offended at it because they're always loud. Is this person normally quiet? So if this person is normally quiet and reserved, then I can't get offended that they're normally quiet and reserved because that's their temperament. That's kind of how they are. But if I get someone who's normally loud and I'm in a conflict with them and all of a sudden they get quiet, watch out. The third thing is you need to understand their circumstance. Understand their circumstance. Understand what situation they're actually looking at. Single people, stop telling married people how to be married. Because you don't see the situation. Childless people, quit telling people with kids how to raise their kids. Because you don't see the situation. You don't see the circumstance. You can't understand me until you stand in my shoes and feel my feelings and understand my thoughts. You have to understand my circumstance. What am I looking at? And you got to understand that you being in my circumstance looks different from my eyes. You can't say what I would do. No, because you're not me.